Your Royal Highnesses, esteemed guests, I'm very happy to be here, very happy they let me in the building. I think everyone in this room has a pretty well-established notion, and definitely by now, of what peace is. Reconciliation, cooperation, harmony, and accord. A time of stability where our human endeavors are free to prosper without the burdens of conflict and destruction. But when we look around the world today, the lack of peace is striking. But let me take you to the small city where I was born, Lund. It's at the southernmost tip of this very long land. And this is in a country that hasn't been in a state of war for more than 200 years. Healthcare and education are still free, and they are the right of everybody living in Sweden. The population of Lund today is made up of many nationalities, people who fled the military dictatorships of Argentina, Chile, Uruguay, people who fled wars and poverty in Africa and Iran, and later, people who fled the wars in the Balkans, Somalia, Palestine, Lebanon, Iraq, Kurdistan, and now Syria. People who all came to Sweden to reap the benefits of peace. Security, healthcare, education, infrastructure, and so forth. People came here seeking a future. People come here seeking security. For without security, there can be no peace. And without peace, the future can't be expected. I grew up in the midst of all these benefits that peace generates. So much that I have never not known literal peace. So much that I take both peace and my future for granted. Maybe even too much. However, in our seemingly peace-loving land, a profound conflict is brewing. And it seems many of us feel there isn't enough peace for everyone, that the benefits of our society are limited, that we don't have enough peace to share, especially now that everybody wants a piece of it. And this is true not only in Sweden, but we see these tendencies reaping new followers across this whole continent. A formidable adversary of peace, fear, is growing. And as in all conflicts, more and more of us are seeking to place blame, looking to find whose fault it is that our so lasting peace is being threatened, and that our hard-earned prosperity may be usurped by unwanted, unworthy, or unwelcome guests. For it seems we all forget too easily. We forget that all cultural, ethnic, and religious diversity, and diversity in general, I would say, has been essential ingredients in the progress and richness of all great societies in the history of the world, from the Chinese, the Persian, the Roman, to the American. Our differences is what make us strong. They are not contrary to what some would have you believe, unresolvable obstacles that require us to defend ourselves against what is foreign. Because what is foreign today can be familiar tomorrow, and in that case, we are enriched by it, enlightened by having learned new things. I myself am the son of immigrants, a black father and a white mother who came from America to Sweden in 1969. They were also seeking a kind of peace, an alternate future. In my life, my greatest struggle has been one of identity and finding inner peace. Am I black? Am I white? Am I Swedish? Am I American? For many years, I denounced the blackness in me. I stood staring in the mirror of my room for hours on end, wishing that my hair would be straighter and my skin would be fairer. I wanted to look like the rest of the kids in my school. At the time, I went to school with only 2 other non-white pupils. Lund in the 80s was not as diverse as it is today. In school, every day for 4 years, the same 3 boys tormented me, calling me the same derogatory names, referring to the color of my skin. I started to understand that the color of my skin was bad. And I fought with those same boys every day. And every word they said burned into my soul. At the time, I didn't have the words that I have today to defend myself with, only my boyish hands to do my talking for me. But every day I wished I wasn't different. I started to hate the color of my skin. To my young self, being different was a burden. I questioned my parents on why they'd have a kid who didn't look like them. And I can tell you it's a truly strange revelation as a kid to realize that neither your father or mother can entirely understand who you are, being that I'm only half my mother's color and half my father's. Without expounding on that subject any further, let me get to the point of what I wanted to say and how it relates to peace. At the age of 12, I got my first skateboard. I fell in love instantly and spent every waking moment on that board. One evening, I was skating at a playground near where I lived. A group of boys on their bikes stopped and stood for a long time just looking at me. After a while, one of the boys asked me what I was doing, and I explained that I was trying to learn a specific trick on my skateboard. And then I realized that the boy asking me was one of the 3 boys that bullied me in school. A boy I really, really disliked. But we struck up a conversation that evening, and a few days later, he came to the same playground with his own skateboard. And since then, we've actually been best friends to this day. We spoke very little about the differences we once had, as we were more caught up in our newfound similarities. We found common ground. In that case, it was a piece of plywood and 4 rubber wheels. More wasn't needed for 2 restless and curious kids just out to have a good time and explore life. It took many years for me to finally come to terms with my own identity and land in the fact that I'm not half, white or black, Swedish or American. I'm both. I've got twice the heritage and twice the culture. What I for so many years saw as a stigma, today I see as a gift. I see my ability to be a bridge between white and black, or Swedish and American, a window between different worlds. At the tender age of 12, peace came swiftly. But on the grander scale of things, peace is seldom easily won. Common ground not as visible, hope not as accessible, slights not as quickly forgotten. But for Europe and Sweden today, it is wise to realize, and I'm going to paraphrase my friend Abbe, that if we don't share our peace with those who need it the most, then they will surely share their war or their woes with us. That is whether we like it or not. The world and all its turmoil is and will keep on affecting us. Peace is something that needs to be created. I believe peace can be taught. Through education, the evil twins of fear and ignorance can be overcome. I believe it's time for the Swedish government and its politicians to set the tone for all its denizens so that we collectively can muster up the strength to take the necessary measures to equip the young people of today for a more tolerant tomorrow. For if we do not squash the ineptitude of xenophobia, it will quickly set a dangerous agenda for us all, leading this peace-loving land down a road of conflict. So hard as it might be to imagine, peace can only be built, and by communication, effort, and conversation, by hearing each other's stories, by understanding and empathizing. But peace is also a possibility. Nowhere near an unachievable one either, but peace needs resolve. We have to decide that we want it, that we really want it, because it will take a lot of work. So I've learned, now that I'm hopefully halfway through life, maybe more, that peace is not something to be taken for granted, even if I am living in one of the few places on earth where we have known a lot of it. Thank you very much.